think showing respect and being polite and having manners is a fantastic part of your character, which you can develop very easily. Now, I was born in Pakistan and my family moved here to the UK when I was about 2 years old. And the British has this kind of very polite culture, which I've always really resonated with. You're taught from a very young age to say please and thank you. And you show this sign of respect to your fellow person, that it's so normal that everywhere you go here, people are saying, please, thank you, sorry. And it's like this basic level of respect, which makes you seem like a good member of your society. It makes you seem like you're a gentleman. Now, I actually think there's one level we can go past this. So, okay, show respect, have manners, be polite. That's awesome. One thing that I really do find interesting is that people who are polite often are still going through some shit in their minds. Still, some people who are really polite and they've got manners, they're still actually bad people. You can actually have this weird mix where you can be outwardly manipulative in a certain way. Quite a lot of people are like this, quite like psychopathic people, quite nice and generous, but because they know that it will benefit them in some ways. And inside of their brain, they're actually quite negative and dark. And so one thing that I can tell you that would really help you, if you can relate to what I'm saying, is like, okay, maybe you're a bit polite and, you've got manners, but inside of your mind, you're actually a bit of an asshole and you know this, right? It might be worth to try and condition your brain to be nicer to people. So not just to be nicer to people, but to program your brain to, like, literally the thoughts that you get to make them actually more positive. Because, right now, like, saying, yeah, make sure you say please and thank you. That's like level one. That's like forcing someone to do something. But if we can make someone genuinely love other people, that person's going to be polite anyway, aren't they? And so there's two ways to do this. One is through a practice called loving kindness meditation. So just like you've probably heard of meditation, so just like the way we meditate, which we'll focus on our breathing, there's another meditation style where instead of focusing on your breathing, you actually focus on like love and positive thoughts and feelings towards people. So instead of, inhale, exhale, you'll literally just close your eyes. And you can do this with me right now. Close your eyes and just picture someone in your community. And just think to yourself, like, they're actually probably a good person. And they've probably got a lot in common with you. And, the fact that they live nearby. And you could actually genuinely think really highly of this person. You could think of a bunch of good things about them. So why don't you? Why don't you be this guy right now? Why don't you just think about this person? And actually say the words in your mind, like, I love you. I'm grateful for you. I'm glad that you're in my community. I'm glad that my memories, my existence, my consciousness has you in them. Thank you for making up the world, the experiences that I get to enjoy as a human being. It's a very, very powerful practice. And this kind of meditation has been shown to increase like compassion in people. It's been shown to essentially make people more empathetic and compassionate to each other. But there's one more thing, like that, to be honest, some people really like it, but to me, it's never really worked that well. It's like some nice goofy thing that I can try every now and then, but I never got into doing it consistently. But there was a different mindset, an analogy that made a bigger difference for me. And it's from the book, The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz. And the analogy is to assume that your brain is a thought factory, like a factory where things are produced, right? And this factory is run by either two foremen, two bosses, or two managers, Mr. Triumph and Mr. Defeat. Mr. Triumph comes in and he produces the thoughts that make you feel positive, pleasant, happy, joyful, loving. Mr. Triumph will come in and produce the thoughts that say, oh, there's that person that I usually see. Good for them that they're out on this run today. That's awesome. I'm actually really glad this person's in my community. Look, there's a cute family there. It's awesome seeing that stuff. The weather's good, the sun's nice, the nature looks so good, the architecture of these buildings is so nice. It's a good day. It's got to be a good day. I've got some good work. I'm happy. I'm healthy. All of my family's healthy. Mr. Triumph produces these thoughts. But Mr. Defeat comes into work and produces the thoughts that says, this is a shit day. I'm already tired. That prick has done... Oh, why hasn't she messaged me back? She's probably cheating. She's a hoe. Oh, that guy's a dickhead. They look weird. That guy's fat. Mr. Triumph and Mr. Defeat. Right here, right now. Which thoughts would you rather have generated in your brain? Because the truth is, we actually know for a fact that happy people are more successful. Happy people make more money. So it's like, one, they get to be happier, which is nice. And two, they also make more money. So it's like, okay, fuck it. Like, we don't want to be some depressed, sad piece of shit, do we? We don't want to be this guy who's overthinking and feeling negative and hostile and aggressive towards people. We'd rather be the guy who actually thinks positive about people. And so we need to give Mr. Triumph more work. And the way we do this is to simply just even like cue our brain to call him into work more often. Now that you know this analogy, you could literally say to your brain in like a goofy way, Mr. Triumph, what do you think about this? And Mr. Triumph will only produce positive, loving thoughts. So you're going through a problem right now. There's some bullshit happening in your work. You're struggling on this question or this moment or this decision. You could literally say to yourself, okay, what would Mr. Triumph tell me? Mr. Triumph, what do you think about this? And he'll say, oh, well, it's probably just a misunderstanding. They probably didn't mean to like trigger you in that way. Maybe you're just a little bit emotional. How about you hop on a call with them and just tell them how you feel, and I'm sure that they'll make it up to you. Now that would be nice, but most of us don't realize that Mr. Defeat is actually running our brain right now, automatically. And so when we go through some obstacle and, you know, there's some message from someone that we don't like, Mr. Defeat's already there saying, yeah, they're this, here's some emotion for you. You know, you should act emotional as if that was ever good for you. And they've done this. And I bet they're going to do this in the future. And I bet they're thinking this about you right now. And I bet the other person is involved in being a bad person to you too. And suddenly, without any actual, real, logical, rational information, you've got so emotional because you became so negative in your mind. So why don't we give more work to Mr. Defeat? Why don't we tell Mr. Defeat, come in for overtime. I'll pay you for overtime. Come in and work around the clock and keep producing these thoughts of triumph. Sorry, why don't we tell Mr. Triumph to come in and tell him to work overtime? Tell him, yeah, Mr. Triumph, come in and fire Mr. Defeat. We don't want him. He's never served us well. Mr. Triumph is still going to tell us, come on, let's put in some work. He's still going to tell us not to get complacent, of course. But he's going to tell us to do it in a way of love. And so he's going to make us more respectful.